Hey, Jay Clark here with Dirt Bike TV. We're going to give you some tips today on tearing down a bike for a project build. Check it out. Okay, so we have a 2000 KX125. We bought this a few years ago. We just brought it up front. It's been sitting in the fork guard's cracking apart. It just fell apart as we were bringing it in. And so we're going to, this thing's actually fairly clean. It's just weathered. It's been sitting in a hot shed here for the last 3 years. It's been in the last 3 years, and we're going to start by draining the coolant, draining the oil, and just stripping this thing down to the next step. So we've got 3 of us. We're going to be filming. We've got 3 of us to tear this thing down, so it should go fairly quick. We're going to try and get really organized and have all the parts ready to start getting over to anybody who we need any help from on the work. Okay, so when you're doing one of these things, one of the first steps or tips I'll tell you is to take pictures and videos. With your phone now, it's really easy. Take pictures and videos of how the cables are run, those types of things. This bike, I don't think, has ever really been very far apart, so it's going to be kind of nice. We can take some good photos there. Easier than getting through the manual and trying to find a manual if we don't have one. Online, we can just look at how everything's run. So that'll be kind of cool. So that's something that's really easy to do with your phone nowadays. So as you're seeing, as we're going through on this build, that's one of the things we're looking to do. Okay, also, as we're going along, I'm gonna have a piece of paper and I'm gonna be writing down anything that we find that's missing or wrong that I need to order beyond the normal stuff. We already plan on fully rebuilding the engine, rebuilding the crank, piston, obviously. We'll see if the cylinder's okay, it doesn't need to be repaired. So we're gonna look at all those things as we're going through it. It's good to make notes as you go so that it's not real hassle when you start to go reassembling, going, oh, I forgot to order that pipe mount or whatever it is. So as we're working here, you can see that we're not just, haphazardly, going about it, but we're gonna take our time and find the things that we wanna change and repair during the same process. This 2000 had some unique moon wheels, we'll call them. They were rounded off. And if they're in good shape, we might see about repurposing these, getting them, buffed off, maybe anodize them, who knows. If there's no cracks, we might look at that. They're kind of cool looking, retro for sure. We'll see how that goes. This was the era of James Stewart, on the KX125. And I've heard stories of his bikes lasting, 2 to 4 hours, before full rebuilds, They were just having to keep tons of these bikes running. And there's been some more stories come out, over the last, 20 years, talking about how hard he was on these things, but they ran good and they were rippers. So on our engine mods, we'll see what we do. If we decide to get Tom Morgan maybe to port it for us and get the carb done, those types of things. As we get it all apart, we'll make that decision once we get it all split up. That's it. How long was it, Smith? We probably had the clock on there, like an hour and a half?
Yeah, it was
hour 15?
about an hour 15, barely an
only
hour.
like 2.5 because I was back and forth a bunch. So at this point, we're going to go wash this. We got the races out of the frame. Everything's off of this thing, everything. We're going to power wash it so we can look over it, make sure there's no cracks or anything like that. And then over here, you see we got everything laid out really well. Carburetor's looking like pukey. Okay. And our air filter's a little bit worn out. Just a little bit, right? But everything's here, so we're gonna go through all the plastic and stuff. I'm gonna throw it in a bag, and I'm gonna keep it for when we go back and reassemble, make sure that we're not missing anything, any spacers or anything. So right now, our next step is power washing all this off before we get it to our next step with our metal finishing and polishing, different things like that. Okay, carb cable. We're gonna get a new one, so just do that for a while we have it around here. Clutch cable, dismount. You like that? That's
awesome.
It. All right. Okay, engine, I got it plugged off right here, both sides, so we can go power wash it. We want to get it a lot cleaner before we start tearing it down. Okay, so we have our cart here. We kind of got all of our hardware in here. I'm gonna start assessing a lot of this over the next couple days, and I've already started cleaning up some stuff, but we can start to know what we need to go get and so forth. Okay, 20 or 30 minutes of power washing, and we've got it a lot cleaner. Frame, you want to power wash that because your powder coater guy won't like sandblasting grease and everything and dirt into his thing, so you want to power blast that first so you don't get overcharged when you take it into your powder coater. In SoCal here, we have San Diego powder coating, and they're awesome. But I do take them a clean frame to help out on that. Because I've learned they don't like it. This carburetor's so dirty, this thing's been leaking for years. So anyway, got everything pretty cleaned up. Now we can inspect things a little bit more. All right, hey, we're back here with the KX125. I got the engine over here at my buddy Brad's. It's all fairly clean. These cases really aren't that bad. If I was just building this not as a show bike, I would just redo it, you know, just the way it is. It's pretty dang clean, and with it split apart, you could kind of buff on it and get it clean. Just with scrubbing with some like Scotch-Brite, you could clean it up pretty good. But we're gonna go the extra mile and really do this thing. So right now, Brad's gonna split this thing apart. We're gonna inspect the cylinder to make sure that it doesn't need to be plated. If it does, then we'll address that. He's gonna inspect all the gears, all those types of things to see if there's any critical parts that we're missing. We can already tell the intake boot's got a crack in it, and that's gonna be tough to locate, I'm guessing. So we're gonna look at that. We're gonna double check that and look for any parts that we need to start sourcing out. So you can watch and see how Brad takes this thing apart, and we're gonna get all the pieces ready, get the bearings out and everything to go to our vapor blasting with Sano metal finishing.
Man,
How's that look? Meh. Hone it.
yeah,
Should be all right.
yeah, actually it should be.
So Brad's good at keeping all these, you know, critical engine pieces here in nice baggies. These little plastic pieces we'll probably have to put on once we're putting the engine back together. So what are you knocking on there? What is that?
Woodruff key
So is that the key that...
holds the stator,
Oh, okay.
the flywheel in place.
Nice.
On the KX125, you have this little pin. When you want to take the exhaust valve arm out, you take this little bolt out, and it's not going to just come out. So you take this out, and actually inside of here is another pin, which, there it is.
But it's just like a
It's
retaining pin.
yeah, it just holds it in there. But there's a lot of people that don't realize that's in there.
It.
Yeah, and they take this out, and they're like, why isn't it coming out?
So you got two that you gotta look out for.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so we've got a clutch out. Looking at our basket, it's not too bad. We'll see what Recluse has, but we're getting all our stuff together in a bag. Brad's got a nice system here. He's got all these boxes of our stuff that he keeps at his house because he likes us that much that he just keeps it around to remind him of us.
That's right, storage.
Brad's got this bag of all this critical engine parts here. Both the dowel little things are in there as well. So
yeah, normally we don't take all this off, but since we're hydroblasting,
we got to make sure
take
everything's
it
out.
all.
Everything's out, all the bearings, all of it. So.
Everything's going good.
All right, look at our gears.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
There's like nowhere on the little, hardly anywhere on the dog ears.
Really?
This thing is like, they must have really not rode this thing. I mean, there's just nowhere.
How are our shifter arms?
They're probably gonna be perfect. I'm not even a bit aware.
Looking good.
Yeah, it's crazy. This thing has like, just like no wear on it.
Yeah, we thought this thing was gonna be pretty good because it was sitting just for a long time apparently, and maybe 1-2 top ends max, and so
Yeah,
looking pretty good. Okay, engine's all in here, ready to go to Sano. Look at that. And then that's gonna go to Andrew Langston. We're gonna do a crank rebuild, so pretty excited with the Pro X kit. Now, on to Carb Time. This thing was pretty slimy and grimy, so we'll see how it looks. We power wash this, so we got water in here obviously, but this slide, not bad.
Not at all.
So we've got our carb way more apart here. Looking good. Just finishing up before we add to the box.
Okay, so that's a wrap on our project bike teardown. Remember, take your time, watch those videos like everything I've said. This is the KX. We've already got it painted. It's been a little bit, it's been like a month since we tore it down. So we've already got it painted, got the swing arm and subframe, everything ready to go. We're gonna go be assembling this thing at Brad's right now. So look for part 2 and maybe a 3, but for sure a 2 on this build coming up in the future. If you like what we're doing, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and hopefully we'll see you out in the track or trail soon. If you're looking for anything dirt bike related, parts, gear, anything like that, head over to our website or the link in the description below and click on the Rocky Mountain link. From there, you'll be able to see all of our top picks and much more. It's a great place to find all the dirt bike parts that you need.